apologise for the live going.
And escape the hell of Nazism to come and find a safe place where they could survive.
It's so sad what's going on at the moment with Palestine, it really is. I was confused. I mean, does Kohberger have a pet, an animal, a cat? Because they did find cat hair on the scene. But to me, it looks pretty odd. I don't know why he's got it like that. What do you think it could possibly be? Do you reckon he's caught women before, or is that, you know? I'm not sure. But evidence of blood again on the
continuous Islamic, and I insist to say Islamic.
Well, after this, I'm going to do more paperwork and carry off from where I left off last time. This is really confusing me what this could possibly be. You know, it looks really surprising, and I don't know what it could be, you know. Is it he was building it to do something to someone, kidnap someone? You know, it just looks pretty odd, sort of thing I saw in Rex Human's house, you know. Like a chamber. I could be wrong though.
Jewish people, not only in Israel, but worldwide. This is not only human delusion. They have been acting on it. It's a legislation. Many out there believe that Allah gave them the authority to punish the Jewish people. First, Allah chose the Jewish people. It was His chosen ones.
Oh my.
This
who's speaking here is the son of Hamas, who left Hamas, and he's in the European, it's in the United Nations meeting. It's talking about how it's turned into something completely like what the Jewish ran from, you know, and it is. It's sad. It's just so, you know, I think a lot of Jewish people are feeling betrayed as well, you know, because, you know, they're only human beings too, you know. I think the actions of our government sometimes are brainwashing the youth. I had to move my daughter from school because of certain, not to do with Muslims, but to do with certain viewpoints that, you know, my daughter's going through, I maybe shouldn't talk about it, but she feels like she's different. She doesn't like boys, she likes girls. She was made to feel embarrassed about it, you know. Let's take it out. They turned around and went to me, it's because of the technology. What, that turns you gay? You fucking kidding me? Maybe it's your rhetoric. You know? They don't want children having children, that's for sure, in this country.
His name Yasser, a global terrorist who wanted to globalize the Intifada and hijack commercial airplanes and blow up athletes at Munich Olympics, and we can go on and on of the Palestinian global terrorism as a mean for political and financial gain. He never been there. No evidence. With the Egyptian birth certificate. And this is the father of the Palestinian revolution. The most corrupt revolution on earth. that does not have concern towards the Arab or the Jewish children in that region.
No.
Please notice, my ethnicity is not Palestinian. We are Arabs of Judea and Samaria. That's an ethnic group. This is ethnicity. But Yasser Arafat did not want us to go to school. This is why, when the first
Interesting, isn't it?
started back in 1987, the masked men used to come to our school and ask us to leave, to go to the checkpoints and throw stones at the Israeli army. Because for Yasser Arafat, it was very clever to pay a handful of masked men, we didn't know who they were, to come to school and send children to the checkpoints to get shot, or at least to confront an Israeli tank with a rock. This image attracted the globe and attracted so many people.
Look how clean this oven is.
See the bravery of
It was an oven tray that clean.
a very advanced weapon.
So a lot of this is his place. I mean, he has zero character. I love how they sort of zoom in on the extra virgin. You know, it's how telling him something. You're a virgin, virgin. Oh my God, these photos. Gotta laugh at them. But it's his life. I find it very barren because I'm quite clutter queen. You know, I have loads of paintings in my house. I have like loads of like furniture and that. It's just my worst nightmare living in a house like this. No food. But rice. I mean, I am veggie myself. I'm not vegan, but I don't believe in eating meat. But my kids do, you know. They like meat, my kids, but me, I like eating nuts and berries and stuff. Eat apples a lot. It's hard to get protein for myself though because of me being anemic all the time. I'm anemic, so I have to take B12 a lot. The highest one you can get, you know. We might spot something, that's why I'm going through this, you know. Gosh, how boring. There's not a splodge of like food anywhere. Look how clean that is. He's like a neat freak, you know. Sad at the bottom.
This is not who I am, and it's a choice. To know my roots.
Oh, when you. At least we know he cooks for himself.
That today I choose the highest interest of humanity, not the interest of the tribe.
Let's see what this says.
Palestinian, etc. Who cares? And how many children are they willing to sacrifice for this sick ideology? And today we have so many sellouts.
Oh, the receiver and knife sheath.
Who scream out loud.
Oh wow. Okay. A bit weird holding the knife sheath again. It's like he was so used to. Now I am going back to like my theory. Kohberger did it when I'm talking about this, right? Because I haven't read the case notes yet, you know, and I don't like doing that unless this is what got me. I like to study these people. I like to, you know, a lot of these people don't have a conscience, you know. They don't. It's a burglary theory here. Shit, oh my God.
obvious that our crisis is bring the hostages and save the children from those who have
Here it goes. Make sure to adjust your aim based on the gap which also needs to emerge. Burglary. Careful of flowery language and content and use of a positive voice in this matter. Okay. Not really. It's bringing up burglary issues, but you know, he's getting a lot of details, facts.
They all speak on behalf of the children, of the victims.
Assumption or fact.
But how can you be speaking on behalf of the children?
And this is talking about a similar case by the sounds of it.
They support the resistance. They claim that this is a
Research topics. A topic I theoretically important. Offender decision making, emotionality and burglary with fast material gain as an end. Okay, so he's not in there to murder. You know, this is talking about burglary, right? While an analyst of criminal behaviour under the lens of rational choices perspective consider the intuition notion of the offenders, weigh costs against the benefits when committing crimes. Not all criminal actions reflect a rational, instrumental process. For instance, crimes of passion involve reactive violence, which manifests due to intense emotional arousal. I'm not sure if Kohbergers wrote this. Confounding, because it is writings easier. Sorry guys, I'm just reading it note for note. Confounding notions of exclusive cold criminal calculus with the respect of limitations of the rational choice perspective, the minimalization or exclusion of the analysis of influence of effectively of an offender decision making permeates existing research, such as depth of research surrounding emotions and decision making, particularly regarding emotions, may interfere with the cost-benefit analysis of an offender, precludes the true apprehension of the intricacies of studies surrounding the influence of emotionality on offender decision making throughout the crime commissioned. He really took time out to. It's Brian Kohbergers as well who's wrote this. It's got his name on top there. It's like he's trying to rationalise it as such. I'm going to let you guys read it. Let me know in the comments if anything stands out to you. Okay. He does count the burglary intent with people there and the violence as a sexual crime. Only a person who's committing a crime would validate that, really, wouldn't they? Okay, another one. Oh, it's a fact-based one. No. But yeah,
being killed because of their religious or ethnic background. It's a collateral damage because of the lack of responsibility of their government. All those who claim to say what's happening in Gaza is a genocide.
Demonstrate
they are contradicting the dictionary and the reality. Israel has been doing everything within their ability to minimize the civilian casualty by giving people 2 weeks in advance, revealing the military plans. Evacuate this area while the terrorists evacuate with the civilians. Dressed up like women, like civilians.
Now I've feeling someone's marking his paper, and he's talking about burglaries and the emotional side of it, and how this professor's pointing out there is things out there that does talk about this for him to help with this discussion. I don't know. America, the nation that houses 25% of the world's... Hang on, honey. It says here what he's trying to rack off quiz. It says, America, the nation that houses 25% of the world's inmate population, despite consolidating only 5% of the world's population, was designed to be the most procedural and just nation in the world. The founding fathers believed that all citizens deserved the right to a speedy trial by jury, one which they considered the basis liberty as all citizens deserved. Beyond the shocking breadth of American prison system, there lies more evidence of practical injustice, namely that our system has produced many false confessions. What follows in this discussion of the nature of false guilty pleas within the country, as well as the explanation of what might be done to rectify the problem. Since 1989, there have been about 2,400 falsely convicted citizens that have been proven. Criminologists believe that the scope of false conviction may span from 2 to 8% of all convictions. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? Indicative of the system that somewhere in the functioning unjustly strips citizens of their life and liberty. Furthermore, 9 to 10% of innocent projects exoners pleaded guilty to crimes they did not commit. There are two main ways in which these unsettling statistics and estimates reflect the shortcomings of American justice system. According to Rakoff, citizens' decreased access to the courts, as well as the issue of forensic science. Decreased access to the courts in multifaceted contributors to false guilty pleas. Firstly, these issues disproportionately affect people of colour, as is evident in disproportionate minority confinement, the DMC statistics. Example, 40% of prison population is black. Wow, never knew that. 20 is Hispanic. Unfortunately, Rakoff estimates that the coming years, 1 in 3 black men between the ages of 22 and 35 might be incarceration. These first layers of how false guilty pleas manifest. That is, the disadvantage of citizens seemingly targeted and subjected to the harshest punishments. He's not wrong. It's a sad thing that somebody like this goes ahead with his education and things like that, going well for him. Goes right to being a slayer. Just really shocks me. Because there's like nothing to that is, but I don't know the results of those yet. I don't think the results have come out. You know, from the they've put that upside down on purpose, I swear.
In favor of political gangs that does not have even a legitimate leadership.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with what his beliefs in the court system are. He's like me, he's anti-authoritative. I never heard of Darwinism until this case, but I believe with his language, his background, his internet history that I've looked into, there's some kind of libertarianism involved in his thinking. It's like what the girl said, like he shouted, "I'm gonna help you," you know, like maybe he saw girls like that as a liability to society. I know, it's mind-boggling to me, the reason there could be. But that is a very strong suspicion, you know. Here we are. More.
If we don't get united, realizing that we have a religious majority that has been determined to annihilate religious minority. If we don't understand that this is the actual situation.
He talks about the motivations and the outcome of sexual violence as well in this one.
Tomorrow they will have another problem.
Gratification of some kind has to come from it, you know. I'm not sure why they're taking pictures of this stuff. It's to do with this. Is it to make people seem like he's planned this? Perhaps. Can't rule it out. In reference to the coding scheme, one operational definition was unclear, which pertained to the distinction between light and dark, where 7:59 a.m. was considered dark and 8 a.m. by a difference by 1 minute qualifies as light. You know, and he's talking about categories of voyeurism. Okay, let's read this. One final criticism may lie of the introduction of transvestism as a non-contact sexual behaviour, for though accurate, would likely offend some readers, especially it is humped in with inherently intrusive behaviours such as voyeurism and exhibitionism. Transvestism is conveyancy, a behaviour that has membership in non-offending categories. To an extent, so too does fetishism. Still, it is difficult to deny that the behaviour is important to code, as it clearly fits the definition of non-contact sexual behaviour. I believe that the benefit outweighs the negatives. Friggin' hell.
So the situation in Indonesia
With respect to the statistical analyst data, utilize generalized estimating quotations. Equations. A novel but sensible approach to connecting sexual conceived decisions to positive to negative outcomes during sexual crimes. It's no sexual crime to have a fetish, trust me. It's just not. I'll be honest with you, people who seek that type of art, I think that's the end of our look onto we've now looked at all these. Okay.
Why? Because they are criminals. Why don't we give them equal rights as well? Citizens who show equal responsibility, they are entitled to equal rights. Otherwise,
why not? See, this is it, you know. You're not your parents, are you? When you grow up, I mean, this man comes from Hamas. He hasn't committed anything or done anything, or that I know of anyway, but your family isn't you. If you have a good family and you go on and commit crimes like this, it's not to do with how you brought up. If anything, if you're brought up by a parent who is violent, it teaches you a lot about patience and a lot about how to avoid violence. Kohberger was brought up in a lovely family, and as far as he got bullied by girls, it's always a way, like human. He was bullied by girls and stuff, you know. But perhaps Kohberger has committed crimes possibly before, because just the way he ordered that knife sheath, as if like nothing's happened, you know what I mean?
Then why don't they just migrate?
Just gives me that feeling. Look at these IDs as well, you know. Okay, we'll do some more another time. Let's read a bit the documents.
And when you cancel half the society, what is a society without women? You kill all the creativity.
Yeah.
Then there is sexual repression, and the sexual repression will automatically lead to violence, to terrorism. And this is the psychological connection. Then they are attracted to come to the West. Why? Because they see freedom.
Yeah.
Women are free. Hence the society is free and more healthy. So they come attracted to the freedoms. But then suddenly they want to turn it into Mecca, where non-Muslims are not allowed to enter the city. I don't want to say, where is their tolerance?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the temples? Where are the synagogues? Where are the churches that are in Mecca? But this is too much. It said we don't want to give them big responsibility or a big task to manifest. At least we say, why don't you allow the non-Muslims enter the city of Mecca? The signs are so huge on the entrance of Mecca, say Muslims and non-Muslims.
These documents are things to do with his time at Pullman. These are receipts for everything he's been employed to do and stuff. It's not, there's no accounting for the
So we need to be aware. We need to be aware of the fundamentals of this problem in order for us to
I would rather read the police reports.
solutions.
Okay.
If they want to worship in the mosque, this is okay, but they must separate mosque and state. If they want to worship, they have the freedom for worship, but we don't want to see gatherings, political gatherings by the name of Islam, praying in the thousands, making political statements. They are in violation, immediately in violation. They want to worship, close your door. It's your devotion, it's your relationship between you and your God, between you and your Allah. I don't have a problem with that. But don't intimidate the people with your prayer. And I conclude that there could be a solution.
Right, we're going to the Moscow Police Department documents now, and this narrative, the plates from aims for FBI tech working license plates. Okay, WatchGuard event. Okay, this was printed out on the 8th of the 7th 2005, and it was documented on the February 22nd of 23 by Dustin Blaker. A few weeks after November 13th, I was at work when I was asked by M&T analysts with the FBI if we had any to run our records to see if we had any license plates for a white Hyundai Elantra of 2011 and 2013. I was able to run all vehicles through the Spillman, and I had D and E parking enforcement E provided me with a printout of the plates, and I handed to T so it could be provided to the FBI techs who were checking plates and looking for leads. I was recently provided with the printout of these plates and provided the MPD records to the department so they could be scanned to the case. Okay, it doesn't look like this has been... Okay.
That was quite the monologue. If you followed along, you would feel his heart. You feel his anguish.
These are the Spillman reports, okay? This was printed out on the 8th of the 7th, 2005, and it was documented on the 21st of the 2nd, 2023 by Roger Lanier. Okay. Release of the crime scene and residence at 1022 King Road. On February 21st, 2023, I received a copy of the agreement between University of Idaho and the owner of the residence of King Road for the University of Idaho to take over the security and remediation of the home. This was done after the crime scene and were released to Judge Marshall's order and the coordination of the team of Idaho Properties, the property owner's attorney, the University of Idaho and Moscow Police Department, all responsibility to maintain and remediate the property, was taken over by the University of Idaho. So it was a call to dismantle it? I don't know. Let's carry on. Just give me a second, guys, alright? Just going to loop.
Amazon has increased funding for employees to £3,000 a year, every year, for career development, providing you with valuable skills for work and home.
I just want to say as well while I'm here, thank you for every single person who's subscribed and taken the effort to take these documents in and the evidence in and what I've pointed out so far. I appreciate every one of you, because it is people have jobs, commitments, children. You know, this was printed out the same day. Lawrence sorry, how am I reading? The 20th of the 2nd, 23. Narrative, Google warrant. Okay? On January 24th, 2023, I applied for a warrant of the user, subscriber information and the user data associated with a Twitter account of Brian Kohberger. With any of the following identifiers. They've blocked his email out. On January 25th of 23, the warrant was granted and signed to the magistrate Megan Marshall with 7 days to serve the legal process. January 26, 23, at approximately 9 hours, the warrant was served via Google Law Enforcement portal, and they put it in there. I received an email shortly after the submission confirming the receipt of the request and assigning the internal reference. On February 19, 23, I received an email from Google stating the data requested pursuant to the warrant was available to download. On February 20, 23, I logged into the law enforcement portal and began to download. On February 20th, 23, I logged into the law enforcement portal and began downloading files to the forensic computer located in a secure forensic computer lab in Moscow prison, right? They got the Google account ID, the name, the given name, family name, I don't know what that means. Created on blah blah, terms of service, IP address, terms of service language, English, date of birth is there, 94, they're not given the proper dates. Last updated on the 7th month, so he hadn't been on there, you know, since January. Then I examined the Google Play library associated with the account listed. The following: Hinge dating app, meets people. Hinge dating app, I wonder what that is. Let's have a look. Hinge dating app, is it like a kink one? Hinge dating app. I'm not familiar really, I don't date. Okay, so it's just a normal dating app, okay. In examining the email contents associated with Gmail accounts, I found emails reference to Twitch accounts, alright, with the username of, and I also allocated email associated with YouTube accounts as well. Wow. Using Google Gmail accounts that referenced blank blank, a warrant return receipt of affidavits were completed and these documents were sent to the prosecution office. Nothing else said there. Same date again, printed out on the 7th the 8th of the 7th, 25. Brett Payne logged this on the 17th of the 2nd, 23. Evidence, okay. Narrative. On February 16th of 23, I was notified by Sergeant Blaker that blank Jack, is that M? Jack M, had called requesting follow-up on a tip he provided during an investigation. Sergeant Blaker provided me with the phone number of blank, and I called M at this number and spoke to him. The conversation was not recorded. Convenient. M started by stating he lived at blank in Moscow and had called in a tip earlier on in the investigation about seeing a vehicle drive by his house at approximately 4:25 to 4:30 in the morning of November 13th, 22nd. M told me he was out in front of his house, so it's the house over the road that, you know, the Idaho police didn't even want to take their statements and stuff like that. They just seem to not want to, and that's bizarre in itself. Told me that he was out the front of his house and that he was placing items into his recycling trash. Blank stated that he was wearing headlamp at the time because it was dark and his front house lights were not on. Blank stated there was only one street light in the area at the corner of his property, so it was pretty dark, easy for stalking. Blank stated he had been in and out of the house several times. On at the last time of these times, he told me he heard a vehicle approaching his home from the north Conestoga Drive, runs north-south in this area, headed towards the west Palos River Drive. M was adamant he could not swear to what type of vehicle he saw. However, he remembered seeing the headlights and the taillights. M described the taillights as being teardrop shaped and about waist height. The only thing he remembered about the headlights was they were lower to the ground than the taillights. M also told me the vehicle was going faster than usual, but did not seem to be driving erratically or dangerously. M also told me he not seemed to be driving as force, that at the time the vehicle may have been a dark SUV, but based this only off the taillight's height. And one fact, he could not see the vehicle itself due to the following. This is the bloody date nap thing, isn't it, again? Okay. Due to lighting, I asked him if it was common for him to be out in the early hours of the morning. M stated he often walked his service dog or took his trash out at that time. M told me that it was quite unusual for anyone to be driving in the area at that time, and said he had not seen many cars driving at that time since the morning of 30th of November. M told me he spoke to the ISP investigator during the investigation and told the investigator he thought the vehicle might have been a dark SUV based on the above information. However, M told me he has since tried to tell the colour of the vehicles driving by his house when it was dark outside, and he has been unable to tell the colour the vehicles are because of the poor lighting. M stated he was contacted by someone from the Kootenai County Public Defender's Office who asked him about the dark SUV he caught on security camera. M told me he did not have any video footage, nor was he certain of the vehicle was an SUV sedan. Expressed several times, only thing he could attest to was the shape of the taillights he saw on the vehicle that night. I thanked them and went on my way. Okay. So this is where the dark SUV conflicted statement comes from, huh? Okay, victim files record a watchguard event, same date, the 8th of the 7th, printed out, it's noted by Brett Payne, on the 16th of the 2nd of 23. Narrative: on or about the 6th of January 2022, the FBI analyst provided me with files for each of the 4 victims. The files contained background information on the victims from the University of Idaho. The information was obtained by request during the early days of the investigation. I maintain the files in the locked file cabinet in my office until 16th of the 23. On the 16th of 23, I turned the originals over to MPD clerk in order for the files to be scanned and attached to the case file. The warrant for the ACT phone call previously returned. Kohbergers warrant for his Twitter account. He gained access to his Twitter account, stating that the data request pursuant to the warrant and located to the computer. Reviewing the contents, I found the following data: account ID, phone number blank, user creation IP, and email address, username, accounts. A one return receipt affidavit completed and the documents. So they got everything out there. See, this is just all receipts. I feel like, but I'm going to read it all out. So read this out first, get out the way, you know. Evidence. In February 9th of 2023, I was noted by blank S blank G blank, respective of the Goncalves family, that he discovered an Apple Watch in Kaylee's belongings, which had been released to the Goncalves family on December the 12th, 22. G stated he took the video of himself removing the watch from the box. I told G MPD would take custody of the watch, as this could be helpful in the investigation. G brought the Apple Watch to me in Moscow Police Department. Later, in February 8th, 23, I had G sign the chain of custody sticker and provide him with my business card, and back to which the instructions to send the video of his discovery of the watch. I booked the Apple Watch into the MPD files. Chapin's vehicle. On the 9th of 23, I met with S and G and C at the City of Moscow shop. S and G came to Moscow to retrieve the 2 vehicles of Ethan Chapin's had at 112 King Road. Okay, this will tell us what cars were his. Came from Moscow to retrieve the 2 vehicles of Ethan Chapin. At the address, I assisted with the getting of the vehicles in working order and released the Ford Explorer and the Jeep Wrangler to S and J. There was no visible damage to the vehicles and they were released without issue. Okay. So those were his 2 vehicles. Okay. The Jeep was red, wasn't it? And people kept saying that it was Dylan's Jeep, but crash crossings crime scene. This was printed out on the same day. It was logged on the 7th of the 2nd, 23. The narrative is, on the 2nd of the 2nd, 23, at approximately 5 o'clock, I responded to a single vehicle crash on 50 Queens Road. While parked in the parking lot of Queens Road, directly above the King Road crime scene, M and J and